I had just wrapped up a long strategy meeting for a major client pitch. The kind of meeting where your brain's still buzzing from negotiations and numbers. I checked my phone as I was heading out, thinking maybe it was a message from my assistant or a friend. But no, it was from my mom. And all it said was, either give your brother a share of your company and a house, or you're no longer part of this family. I froze right there in the hallway. My heart started pounding like I'd just run a marathon. I stared at that text, waiting for the punchline, but it never came. Just that cold, transactional message, like my worth to them had boiled down to what I could give away. My hands literally went numb. I sank onto the bench near the elevator, blinking at the screen like maybe I'd read it wrong. I hadn't. My own parents were demanding I hand over a piece of the business I'd bled for. And not just a piece, a share for my brother, plus a luxury house. Like I was some sort of bank they could just withdraw from. No call, no conversation, just an ultimatum. After all the years I spent proving myself, working 16-hour days, pouring everything into something no one else believed in, this is what I get. And the worst part, it wasn't even a request. It was a threat. A twisted exchange, give him what he hasn't earned, or lose us forever. I felt betrayed, humiliated, and yet, beneath the rage, something else crept in. Clarity. This wasn't about love. This was about power. And maybe, just maybe, it was time to take mine back. All I could think about were the years I spent clawing my way up from nothing. I wasn't born into wealth. I wasn't handed a business plan or a safety net. I started with 2 hands, a cheap laptop, and a dream nobody but me took seriously. Not even my parents. I still remember my dad's voice the day I told him I wanted to start my own company. He scoffed, "Nicole, you're not cut out for that kind of life. You need stability, not wild ideas." And my mom? She didn't even respond. Just that tight smile that said, "You'll grow out of this." So I worked. Hard. I took 2 jobs just to keep the lights on while building my dream at night. I missed birthdays, weddings, family vacations. I ate dinner alone in tiny apartments. I cried on bathroom floors when clients ghosted me, when rent was overdue, when nothing was working, but I kept going anyway. I poured everything into this business, my time, my savings, my health. There were nights I didn't sleep, mornings I woke up shaking from anxiety. And through it all, my brother? He was out partying, burning through money, living like life owed him luxury just because he was born with a Y chromosome. No one said a word then. They watched me suffer in silence. They never lifted a hand, never offered help. But now that I've built something strong, stable, and thriving, they want to waltz in and give a chunk of it to the golden boy who never even showed up? My brother never lifted a single finger for me. Not once. And now my parents are acting like it's my duty to reward his laziness with everything I've earned? It wasn't just insulting. It was heartbreaking. And for the first time, I stopped asking why they didn't support me. I started asking why I kept letting them treat me like I didn't matter. Growing up, I learned early on that being the daughter meant playing a different game with different rules. If my brother got a C on a test, my mom would pat his shoulder and say, "He's doing his best." If I got an A-, she'd frown and ask, "Why not an A?" When he crashed his car at 19, Dad laughed. "Boys will be boys." When I missed curfew by 15 minutes, I got grounded for a week and a long lecture about reputation and how girls should behave. He was allowed to be messy, loud, immature. I had to be polished, quiet, obedient. He got praised for mediocrity. I got silence for achievements. I remember once I brought home an award from a statewide competition. I had worked on that project for months. I stood on stage, shaking, holding a plaque with my name on it. And when I showed it to them, they barely looked up from the TV. "That's nice," my mom said. That's it. But when my brother got his first unpaid internship, they threw a dinner, invited relatives, toasted to his bright future. It was like living in a world where I had to earn every breath I took, and he just existed. And somehow that was enough. So when that ultimatum came, when they told me I had to give him a part of my company, buy him a house, or be erased from the family, I wasn't surprised, just exhausted. Because this wasn't about fairness. This wasn't even about love. This was about control. About keeping their favorite child comfortable, no matter who they had to sacrifice. And now they expected me to reward him for years of entitlement, while they threatened to erase me from the family for refusing. It wasn't just painful, it was familiar. Too familiar. And that's when something in me finally snapped. Not with rage, but with clarity. I don't know what gave me the strength that day. Maybe it was years of silence finally catching fire. But I knew I couldn't let them bully me behind screens or through texts. I needed to look them in the eye. I needed them to see that the girl they used to dismiss had grown into a woman who was done playing along. So I drove to my parents' house, our so-called family home, the place where I had learned to shrink myself so my brother could shine. My heels echoed through the hallway like a drumbeat in my chest. I found them all in the living room. My dad reading the paper, my mom scrolling on her phone, and of course my brother lounging on the couch like royalty. I didn't sit down. I stood there, looked them dead in the eye, and said, "This isn't love. This is control." My mom blinked first. "Sweetheart, don't be dramatic. We just want what's fair." Fair. That word burned coming out of her mouth. Fair. I laughed, and my voice didn't crack this time. "You didn't help build my company. You didn't offer a dime when I slept in my car to avoid rent. You didn't even believe in me when I started. And now you want to carve out a piece of it for him like it's a pie you baked." My dad's tone shifted fast, his voice sharp. "Watch your tone. He's your brother. Family shares." "No," I said, steady and calm. "Family supports. They encourage. They don't blackmail with ultimatums." Then my brother spoke, and I swear I could have slapped the smirk off his face. "Wow, Nicole. Still making everything about you, huh? You were always the dramatic one." Dramatic. That word again. Like standing up for myself was some sort of performance. "You really think I owe you?" I asked him directly. "You've coasted your whole life on praise for showing up. I earned everything I have." "You're selfish," my mom snapped. "And if you walk away, don't bother coming back." And just like that, there it was. The mask dropped. I had spent my whole life trying to earn a version of love they were never willing to give. They only knew conditional love, the kind you have to buy, beg, or bend for. But I wasn't that little girl anymore. So I stood up taller, took one last look at the three people I once would have done anything to please, and said, "I won't be part of a family that only loves me when I'm convenient." Then I turned and walked out. Not angry, not broken, just free. That night, I sat in my apartment in complete silence. No music, no phone, just the soft hum of the city through my window and the heavy weight of everything that had just happened. I kept replaying every word from that confrontation. My mother's voice, sharp and bitter. My father's threat masked as family duty. My brother's smugness, as if everything I had created was just a toy he was finally ready to play with. It echoed in my head like a bad song on repeat. I looked around my office, which doubles as my safe space. The shelves stacked with product samples. My whiteboard filled with next quarter goals. The small frame on my desk with a picture of me, just 22 years old, holding up the keys to my first rented workspace. I stood there in ripped jeans and a $10 hoodie, grinning like I just won the lottery. Next to that was the receipt from my first sale. It was only $42, but I had laminated it like it was a check from a Fortune 500 client. And honestly, it meant more than any check ever could. It was proof that I started something, that I made something out of nothing. And yet, even surrounded by that evidence of growth, of effort, of my own damn brilliance, I felt a creeping in again. That stupid, invisible ache. I was still that little girl begging for their approval. No matter how far I'd come, a part of me still wanted to be told I'd done enough, that I made them proud, that they saw me, really saw me. And that realization, it broke me. Not in a loud, dramatic way. There were no screams or sobs, just a quiet cracking deep inside, like ice giving way beneath your feet. I curled up on my couch and let the tears fall, not out of weakness, but out of release. Because I finally accepted something I should have learned years ago. I didn't need their approval. I needed peace. I needed to stop chasing love with conditions. I needed to stop proving my worth to people who had already decided to ignore it. I needed to reclaim myself from their expectations, from their manipulations, from that twisted version of family they kept trying to sell me. I poured a glass of wine, sat by the window, and stared out into the night. The city lights blinked like stars trapped on Earth. And for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel small under them. I felt steady. I felt real. And right then, I made a promise to myself. No more shrinking. No more silence. No more giving just to be tolerated. I was done letting anyone, even blood, dim the light. I nearly lost everything to ignite. The next morning, I didn't cry. I didn't hesitate. I woke up with a clarity I hadn't felt in years, maybe ever. It was like something in me had finally clicked. I wasn't going to plead anymore. I wasn't going to argue. I was going to protect what I built, and I was going to do it smart. First, I called my lawyer. I'd hired him once before when I was setting up my business, but this time the call felt different. This wasn't just about legal advice. This was about reclaiming control, about securing everything I had spent years pouring my soul into. I want to tighten everything, I told him. Reinforce the structure, lock down the assets, revise ownership protections. And I want to set up a trust, effective immediately. He didn't ask questions. He just said, got it. Let's get to work. And we did. In the span of 1 week, I restructured every corner of my business, transferred critical holdings into a trust with my name as the sole beneficiary, updated my living will, removed my family from all fallback designations, and created backup plans within backup plans. My empire wasn't just secure, it was bulletproof now. They wouldn't get a single piece of it, not out of entitlement, not out of manipulation, not because of some twisted family duty. Not anymore. Then, once everything was in place, I sat down with a pen and a single sheet of paper. No emotion, no rants, just truth. I wrote, Mom, Dad, you made your choice, loud and clear. You chose to support a son who has never worked for anything over a daughter who bled, cried, and fought her way to stability. You gave me an ultimatum. And now I'm giving you my response. I will not hand over what I built. I will not reward entitlement. And I will not stay in a family that treats love like leverage. This isn't revenge. It's a boundary. Effective immediately, I'm stepping away. No contact. No drama. Just silence. Take care. I signed it, folded it, sealed the envelope, and mailed it. No message. No heads up. Just a clean, final goodbye tucked in a plain white envelope. There was something unbelievably freeing about it. I didn't wait for a response. I didn't need one. I knew they'd read it. And for the first time, they'd realize that I wasn't bluffing, that their control over me had expired. When you stop reacting, people start listening. When you stop explaining, they panic. And when you stop giving them access to your peace, it hits different. I didn't post online. I didn't call anyone for validation. I simply moved forward. And the silence that followed, it was beautiful. No guilt texts. No fake apologies. Just the quiet that comes from burning a bridge you were never meant to cross again. I stood in my office that evening, barefoot, sipping coffee, staring at the framed quote on my wall. She remembered who she was, and the game changed. That was me now, no longer seeking permission, no longer shrinking. They gave me an ultimatum. I gave them consequences. And for once in my life, I felt powerful, not because I fought back, but because I walked away. I knew it would cause a stir. I just didn't expect how big the explosion would be. 3 days after I mailed the letter, the fallout began. First came the digital tantrum, from my brother, of course. He posted a dramatic rant on Facebook, the kind where he played the victim while pretending to take the high road. It started with, sometimes people forget who was there for them when they had nothing, and ended with, family should be about giving, not just taking. The irony? He had never given anything in his life but opinions no one asked for. I didn't comment. I didn't even open the comments. But a mutual friend screenshot it and sent it to me with a single line, "He's spiraling." Then came my mom. She called 4 times in 1 hour. When I didn't answer, she left a voicemail that started sweet, turned manipulative, and ended explosive. "Nicole, I raised you better than this. You're being cold. You're being selfish. Your brother is hurting, and all you can think about is yourself. Do you want to destroy this family? There it was again, love dressed up as guilt. I didn't respond. Instead, I got a message from my aunt. Then another from a cousin I hadn't spoken to in years. Paragraphs upon paragraphs. Families fight, Nicole, but we don't throw each other away. You only get one mother, you know. This is just a phase. You'll come around. They all echoed the same chorus. Forgive, forget, fall back in line. But here's the thing no one seemed to understand. I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't bitter. I was done. Done with being the bigger person while they acted small. Done with earning my place in a family that never offered me unconditional love. Done with being gaslit into thinking boundaries meant betrayal. So I stayed quiet until I didn't. One morning, while sipping my coffee outside my office, I asked my assistant to snap a quick photo. No makeup, no filters, just me, standing tall, soft smile, sun hitting my face. I posted it on my personal page with one caption, "Peace looks good on me." That was it. No backstory, no drama, but people got it. The likes rolled in. The comments poured. Old friends, clients, even strangers chimed in. Good for you. This kind of peace is earned. I felt this in my soul. It wasn't about going viral. It was about being seen. The internet, so often a cruel place, understood me better than my own family did. And maybe that's what hurt the most. That strangers could offer compassion, while the people who raised me only ever offered conditions. My brother? He deleted his post within hours. My mom? She texted, "So this is what you've become? A public embarrassment." I left her on read. Because yes, this is what I've become. A woman who no longer begs to be respected. A daughter who finally chose self-worth over silence. And while the group chats lit up and the whispers spread, I just kept living. No chaos. No retaliation. Just peace. That's what they never saw coming. Not the distance. Not the silence. The calm. Because I wasn't trying to prove anything anymore. They thought cutting me off would destroy me. But it only revealed who I was without their noise, stronger, clearer whole. Let them gossip. Let them spin their narratives. I wasn't part of that story anymore. I was writing a new one, where I didn't have to fight to exist. And damn, it felt good. Time has a strange way of softening edges. Months passed. The noise faded. The messages slowed. Eventually, the family group chat that once buzzed like a hornet's nest went silent. No more ultimatums. No more guilt trips. Just nothing. And for the first time in my life, that silence didn't feel lonely. It felt like freedom. I traveled. Places I'd dreamed of but never made time for. Italy, Bali, a little cabin in Vermont during the fall. I hiked mountains, ate alone in candlelit restaurants, laughed out loud at old rom-coms in hotel rooms. I stopped waiting for anyone else to say, "You've done well." I started saying it to myself. More than that, I found purpose in new places. I started mentoring young women, not with big speeches or business jargon, but by sitting across from them at worn cafe tables and saying, "You can start from nothing." I did. Some of them cried. Some of them brought notebooks full of ideas. All of them reminded me why I built my business in the first place, not just to prove something, but to build something that matters. And slowly, I stopped feeling like the daughter who'd been cast out. I became the woman who chose herself. One night, I was on a quiet balcony in Greece. Warm breeze, glass of wine, a soft jazz playlist in the background. I watched the sun dip below the sea and felt this calm come over me that I hadn't felt in years. That's when it hit me. I didn't just protect my company. I protected my soul. I drew a line and didn't cross it. I didn't scream. I didn't beg. I just walked away. And in doing that, I gave myself the kind of peace no one else ever offered me. As for my family, I wish them healing. I truly do. I hope one day they see how much damage entitlement and manipulation can cause. I hope my brother learns how to build something on his own. I hope my parents understand that love isn't measured by how well someone obeys, but by how well they're respected. But I won't be there to witness it, because some wounds don't need revenge. They just need distance. I don't stalk their social media. I don't ask about them. I don't carry bitterness in my chest. I just don't carry them at all anymore. My story didn't end the day they tried to cut me out. It began, and now I live it with clarity, joy, and a kind of strength I never knew I had. They tried to make me choose between my family and my worth. But in choosing myself, I didn't lose a family. I found me, and that was the best gift I ever gave myself. And there you have it, Nicole's journey from being torn apart by family expectations to finding her true self. It's a painful truth that sometimes the people we love can be the ones who hold us back the most. But it's also a powerful reminder that the only person we owe our happiness to is ourselves. Nicole could have stayed, could have apologized, could have played the role they wanted her to, but she chose peace over pain. She chose her own worth. And in doing so, she learned that the most freeing thing in life is realizing that you don't need anyone's approval but your own. Let this be a lesson to you all. Never let anyone dictate your value. You deserve the life you create, and if it means walking away from toxic people to build that life, then so be it. If you found inspiration in Nicole's story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more empowering stories. And hey, drop a comment below. Have you ever had to choose your peace over family loyalty? How did you find the strength to do it? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thank you for watching. And remember, you're worth more than anyone's expectations. Keep choosing yourself.